In this one, I'll tell you about a couple things to perhaps look into for research. There are so many more, and I will share those as well. But, you know, just to even start off. So what to start off with? You start off with whatever interests you, because I believe that our intuition, our gut tells us what we need to be interested in. And yeah, go with what you start with. So first of all, how I got into it more was actually through politics, and then through recycling and packaging, and then through to food, water, and exercise. And this is what actually brought me into all of this. So definitely study into food and water, GMO food, organic food, real food, fake food, yeah. Water, definitely, because water, fluoridated water, chlorinized water, all different types of water, figure that out. And exercising, wow. Yeah, exercising is great. I'm not trying to say there's anything I heard about that exercise is bad for you, not at all. Besides if certain conditions you have and diseases, that exercise is not good for you because the way it makes your heart. But I mean, that all goes back to what we put in our bodies. What we put in our bodies is what makes us who we are. So we need to realize that. We need to realize how important food and water is to our bodies, and why, if that's infiltrated, why someone would want to infiltrate it and put it into our bodies. And that's when it starts to get all out there. So anyways, yes, look into food and water and how it used to be, how it is today, what foods are actually real today and what aren't, because there's some foods that we eat all the time that don't actually exist in nature, that we have changed over time to be what it is today, and that it's not real. At the same time, am I saying that not real is not good for you at all? No, because in some ways I can see the way, like why they said the GMO and why they said certain things is because, you know, for drought, or because the pesticides and insects and all that kind of stuff, which it's fine and it makes sense, except for where are we with it today? How natural is it? What is it killing? How is everything coming out of this? Because there is a lot dying out there that we are continuing to kill to only make more fake product for us to ingest. And the natural doesn't have to die. We are killing the natural by making this fake stuff. So anyways, definitely needs to look into. I won't get into that yet. Okay, definitely mind control. Mind control is a huge one. You don't want to believe it has happened. You don't, fine, except for realize the lobotomies that they used to do way back in the day. Realize how they used to keep people, how they used to people against their will, and they would experiment on them. They would do crazy things with their entire bodies and pieces to figure all this shit out. Do we think that they all deserve that kind of behavior? Some of them, they tell you, were prison or deserve this. Sure, some of them were against exactly Nazi Germany. Does that mean that all those Jews deserve that? No. Does it mean that whole races deserve what they went through? No. And we need to realize how much testing has gone on, how much experiments have gone on humans, how much death has been caused by experimenting, the shocking of us. Do you remember how they used to shock people? Do you remember the tortures they used to do on people? That when they used to tell us about the tortures they used to do on people, you need to remember all of this stuff, the things that you learned when you're a kid. You can't just pretend they don't exist in today's world. They do. They just don't tell us to our faces anymore. In past, people would reveal these things to you, and that's how we would know. But today, the world is very hush. It's not that it doesn't happen. It's just hush. Realize that. It's hushed. So, realize all the mind control experiments. CIA even admitted the amount of time that they had actually, well, admitted later, and then it closed down in the 1970s. But just that project, it kept going under different names and different categories and different compartments of it. It's still going on today, and they're getting closer to many of their goals. And while that's happening, so many people have suffered. A lot of people are suffering from dissociative disorder because of all the trauma, all the, oh my God, so much that they're suffered. Sorry, people. Thank you for going through that. And I know it's not going to be easy, but it is part of the plan. So thank you for going through that, so that we may all see and choose better, because I know it's not easy for you to go through in your life. So thank you. Remember about all the blackmail, treason back in the day in your government. You honestly think that just went away? You think there's no more blackmail? You think there's no more threats? You think there's no more any of that? You think they're not still sleeping around with people at certain things and getting caught on camera and being threatened to make certain decisions, or they're going to do this to their family? Or you don't... You need to realize that, yes, people have good intentions and they know this. They know that you as a person, as a mother, a father, someone with a family or with a lover or kids, that you're going to choose certain things over having your family killed or threatened or to live back like you used to, which wasn't in much. You need to understand the controls, the clutches they have on people, that they can control them. Okay. Whew. Okay, other things to look into. Okay, this is a bit, I mean, these things are real, but it's hard because it's not something that we all understand, because we think we had to go to school for certain things to learn before you can get to know this, even though I think this should be taught to everyone, because this is all things that matter to us. So, have you heard of the energy grid and the earth grid, ley lines, Fibonacci sequence, sacred geometry? Those things are huge. Civilizations of past. Have you heard of all the archaeologists that are shut down because they have found things that don't correlate with the timing that they give for humans, that they have things that date back way before that? And so what do? They take it, they hide it, never to be seen again. They also destroy some of that stuff. You need to know how many of those are shut down. There are hundreds of them. Do you know that the things found by archaeologists are bigger than all the museums by 8 times? That all of that stuff we haven't seen as a human populace tells us things about our history, and they're not sharing it with us. There's so many things in there that are things that we don't believe, that we fight with people and be like, how could you even believe that they exist? Because we don't have any proof. And yes, we have proof. They just won't show you the proof because they don't want you to believe that that's what we live, because if you do, then the whole thing falls apart. For me, ancient knowledge and ancient civilizations is a huge, big one. What I was taught when I was younger was that basically Egyptian was the furthest known, oldest known civilization, and that they were barbaric and hardly knew anything much as we did. That they were very simple and just lived lives, in the dark, and ate and didn't know what they were doing. And when you actually study into it, you realize that they were much more intelligent and knew more than we do today. And that's what I mean by you need to, because so many of these things that I'm telling you to look into are so not what we were brought up and raised to believe. Okay, numerology, symbology. Symbology is a huge one. The symbols are huge. That is what actually to me is proof too about how far things date past time, that we believe, is because it's in all the architecture, it's in all the findings, and it's still in today's architecture, movies, and all over the place. Wherever you look, there are symbols, and that's how they let each other know that they're around and what they're doing. And a lot of these symbols are in the bigger industries with a lot of the money. So you wonder why we believe that the elites are running this world right now is because of the symbology, because of the coat of arms, because of so many things. They leave their trail everywhere. It's just that you need to know what they leave behind for you to find them. If you don't know what to look for, you'll think that it's nothing. But once you know the things to look for, it's everywhere. They're telling you this whole time that they're ruling and running everything. And yet we don't know, because we don't know what to see, because they don't teach us what to see. They all know what to see, and that's how they communicate to one another. And yet here we are as millions and millions and billions of population that have no clue that they're doing this. Whoa, okay, this is the big one, because some people don't even believe that there's other life beings or UFOs. Oh, I guess I'll have to wait for that to ring out. So UFOs even, do you even believe there's other life? You need to look into the things that they told you about crash landings and spaceships and stuff back in the day, before even Roswell, back in the 1940s, 30s, and up to even today, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and up until today. Crop circles, though. Crop circles are a huge one. So there are real and fake crop circles. They try to put the fake ones there so you don't believe in the real ones. What I have been told, though, and noticed when researching too, is the real ones, all of the crops are actually still alive and stay alive, and there's this crazy energy off them. Whereas the fake ones, they're dead, is because it's the difference in what we realize is in the ones that stay alive, whatever technology, whatever they know how to use, they know how to bend the crops in a way where they can still stay alive, where they manage to stay alive. Whereas the human-made ones, they're dead because we don't have that technology. We don't know how to do that with the crop. And then there's all the billion-dollar corporations. Look into those, like hair regeneration, cancer, all of the big name ones that make a lot of money that there are no cures for, right? No cures, even though there are cures. We need to realize and look into those. And from there, look into the past too, about what they used to say in science back then for tobacco, for aspartame, for lead is a big one. There's so many things in the past that they have gone through that they told the public was fine, and the science said it was fine, until how many years later, which is generations later, they said it's not okay and that it wasn't good and that they should have done this from the get-go, and all those people that died before, well, now we know better. And that's the exact same thing we're going through today. Remember that pattern that they do. This isn't the first time they've done it. They've done it throughout generations. Just look into the past of old things that they used to say are good for you and were fine for you, until now, today, we know better. And that's the same thing as what we're going through, and we need to realize that. Realize what they might say about the things we're going through 80 years from now. Realize that. 40 years from now. What are they going to say about it? All the proof is there. It's right there. Sound frequency and cymatics. That's a huge one, because that shows to you about vibration, energy, the waves that affect us, how everything affects us to become, how it makes our cells act up in a way that we act a certain way, or become a certain way, or feel a certain way, and how that affects us, how music affects us, and when you get into the hertz, realize too about how they change the sound frequency over time, and how what a pure frequency is that we used to vibrate at, or that they used to feed into our minds, and then the lower frequency they are now feeding in us, and why would they do that? And there's so much into that. Anyways, I'll get into that more later. And I brought up the lead already. Basically, yes, you have to look into things from past. And I think that's a good list for now. I have so many more, but some of that stuff you can't really get into if you don't believe certain things. So it's kind of hard. Definitely, again, though, I would say research into all the stuff that as a little kid that you were interested in and were told something, and now what are they saying about it today? Because realizing how things change over time is a good thing to know about what they tell you today and what they will tell you years from now. And no, it's not always that all of a sudden they have better science. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people think that's what it is because that's what they want you to think. But realize too about even technology. Technology tells us already how far ahead they are in technology and what they give to the world. You need to realize how far ahead they are in everything and what they present to the world. No, not everything that they go through gets presented to us, because they go through kind of a filter system. And in a way, that is good, because it means that we don't all have to go through all of the BS of everything to figure out what's good. At the same time, though, there are certain things that are beneficial to us that they do not give to us right away, because they tell us we're not ready for it, when in truth they don't want to do it because they still want to profit from what they're doing already. I mean, technology tells you that right away about how they put technology out every 6 months to a year, and how it doubles in size or whatever, and memory and all that kind of stuff, and what we're able to do. At the same time, I remember learning about technology in a way where I was told that astronauts and the space stations have way more technology than we do, and that their technology trickles down the line to us. And so what does that tell you about our technology now? And also their technology, is because I believe that their technology is far better than they show. And yet, what do we have here? Anyways, that's a whole many other things to get into. So like I said, at the moment, yes, I think that's enough for you guys to look into. There are so much more from there. Oh, no, I did want to share one more. Look into the mysterious deaths or suicides. Suicides is a huge one. Look into all of those deaths of doctors, scientists, researchers, journalists, bankers, lawyers. So many to look into, because there's a lot of crazy, mysterious deaths throughout time. I mean, you might think they're natural because it said heart attack or cerebral brain hemorrhaging, or, whatever natural death, or that they committed suicide and the way it led up to it, it seemed like it. But you need to know that that stuff can be fabricated, and that research into what those people were researching into. Look at where they were going, look at how far they had gotten, and what was against the system and what we believed, and then what happened? They're dead. So realize that and look into that stuff, because all of their lives that were taken tells a story. It tells a really sinister story about how they have the technology to kill us in ways that look natural, and how they have the means to sell the story that you committed suicide when you didn't. There are so many things, and we need to listen to the families and friends of all these people that are said to have committed suicide. And when you actually read what happened and how you figure out that everyone else doesn't understand how they would have committed suicide because there was no reason for it. And yet this says, even though then you find out about the death and they had a bullet hole in their head and a bullet here and wherever, and it's still considered suicide, and about, you know, just certain weird car explosions that was, oh my god, it's just ridiculous. And actually I feel bad for the people that actually got beaten to death and then said it was a suicide. Anyways, yeah, good luck with everything, because at first it might seem dark, which is why I think a lot of people don't also want to go there, because they want to remain positive. And in truth, this is exactly what I mean by impressions, is because no one knows me here. Most people would know me from my videos, which means that they would probably think I'm a very serious person, when in fact I'm not. Everyone that I know in my life never knew this side of me until years later. Mostly what they knew of me was that I was crazy positive and a bubbly person, and sometimes too bubbly, and that is who I am and who I was. And now who I am right now is because I've looked into this information. The reason why it needs to be shared with everyone is because everyone needs to know this, so that we can make better decisions for the all. Because it comes down to our individual choices, our individual everything, our individual lives that make us react in the way that we do to the world, which ends up making our decisions for the world, which ends up making it what we're going through today. And so all of it matters. And we need to know this information so that hopefully we decide to choose from within. We also, it is a big thing of looking back into yourself. And I think the hardest part for people is that when they realize this, they don't really want to look into themselves, because a lot of us don't like ourselves. A lot of us don't love ourselves, and a lot of us don't want to see ourselves for real. They don't wish to really look into ourselves because we're so used to being distracted by everything else in the world before looking into ourselves. And also because it adds to responsibility of oneself. It adds to the responsibility of you, of your choices, of every single thing. And a lot of people don't wish for that either. So, yeah. Good luck, everyone. It's worth it. Completely worth it. That is exactly why I'm here and doing this too, is because I think about life as infinite and always and immortal. And right now is a time in life where we are deciding where our immortal future is going, and it really, really depends on this moment in time and what we do. So, good luck. It truly is for the beneficial of all, I promise you.